Honest to a malt, honest to a malt, yeah. Honest to a malt, honest to a malt, yeah.
So, shall we do the intro to our new pod, Honest to a Malt?
Firstly, love the name.
Yeah, it's a good name, Honest to a Malt. So, what's it about? Honest to a Malt is about we are going to be honest to a fault about
Ba-ba.
malts, right? Honest to a honest. We are honest.
To a fault.
Honest.
About malt.
Yeah, honest to a fault about malt. Right. So I'm looking forward to. We're going to give a little bit of different insight into the nerdy world of whiskey. Hopefully, being less nerdy, and hopefully, but still talk about what we're drinking in the glasses, what we're enjoying. Still, I guess, talk about bottles a bit, but also about experiences, and some learnings that we've had.
So to cut in, who are you?
Who am I? So I'm Duncan. I'm also known as Whiskey Tip on Twitter. I'm mainly on Twitter. I quite like the Twitter community. Pretty much only follow people who post about whiskey. So my feed is majority about that. And I'm a little bit on Instagram, but I find it a wee bit vacuous. Kind of just hold my nose, post the odd picture occasionally. I've been drinking whiskey since I was small, right? Or legal age anyway. And I've always loved whiskey, and I've taken it more and more seriously over the years, or tried more and more of it. I am not a spreadsheet man. I do not know how many whiskeys I've tried, but it is a lot.
We have spreadsheet men that can come in later on at certain points.
We could bring out.
We have the spreadsheet man.
We could bring out the spreadsheet man.
Yeah.
Well, what about yourself, Mike?
So, as you said, my name is Mike. You'll see me on social media as Whiskey Wings, heavily on Twitter, and I do love the Instagram just because it was an outlet for my creativity. Because I think I can take good photos. Whether I can, I don't know, but I think I got an eye for it.
No, you can. Actually, you took a great photo for our logo, didn't you? So
yes, yeah, that's too much time on my hands, but yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
whiskey. Had no interest growing up in it whatsoever. It was always my
those small French beers, just those little French beers that you were on all the time. Yeah,
100%. Yeah,
that's all you're into. Remind me, was it the age of 29 when you stopped drinking those little French beers?
No, I still drink them now.
Still drink them, right?
Yeah, just got a fridge full. £7 for 400.
When did you actually get into whiskey then? What's your?
I think looking back, it must have been about 2016. So organised a stag do to Dublin, one of the boys, and ended up just obviously doing Jamesons, and you had to buy a bottle of Jamesons. We all had hip flasks, blah blah blah. So I came back to Wales,
nice.
London, thinking I was like a whiskey genius, essentially. Like I knew everything because I had some Jamesons. Went to a bar, and one of the guys from work offered me a whiskey. Ordered a Jamesons, and he slapped me in the face, like full on slap.
Like an actual slap, like
an
closed hand or open hand?
Open, sort of like Will Smith, Chris Rock, like just straight in the grid.
Right. And do you think you deserved that at the time?
Looking back now, I'd say yes. I'd probably be in his position. Maybe wouldn't hit someone. No real need for that. But hey,
not advocating it, but a lesson learned for you, right?
He looked me straight in the eyes and said, "If anyone ever offers you a whiskey, go for a single malt." And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. So he basically went, right, I'm going to get you something called a Freig, Lafraig, as he probably pronounced it then.
Probably. The Freig, we could have that one as a soundbite.
You can have that one as a soundbite for later.
Little mispronunciation.
And I went to neck it, obviously in one, as you do when you do shots of whiskey. And again, nearly slapped me in the face, but stopped me. And then basically he went, right, you're going to smell TCP, fire, lime. And I'm like, what are you on about? There's no way.
All right.
So he taught me through what I'm going to smell. Luckily, I'm blessed with a nose the size of like Wales. So
yeah, hoover that good sniffs up.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Everything he said, I picked up straight away. And then everything that was on the nose was in the palate. And that was that. I was like, need to know more about this. So yeah, started sort of buying the odd bottle from there. I think I had bottle of Lefroy 10, some Macallan Fine Oak, I want to say, and a Glenfarclas 105, and basically thought I was like a whiskey genius from the start.
Well, it's a good start, isn't it? So you've been into whiskey now for sort of 6-7 years properly, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, and you're a bit Welsh, aren't you?
A little bit Welsh.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit Scottish. So we're both sort of frauds in the true sense of it.
Well, were you born in Scotland?
Of course, I wasn't born in Scotland.
I'm born in Wales.
Okay, you're the pariah. Fair enough.
Lost the accent because I'm a chameleon. Like if I start speaking to a Scottish person, I will develop a Scottish accent quite quickly because I'm an idiot.
Right. Yeah. I do that as well. Like my accent changes. So forewarning for people listening to the pod, my accent could sound different week to week. It's just always been a flexible thing. I can't do anything about it. It's not deliberate.
I know what you mean, Duncan. I do the same all the time.
Who's that? Was that South African?
That was South African. I thought you were going to try and dig me out then, but that's good.
What was the accent you were trying to tell me the other day? And I said you sounded like someone entirely different. If you can't remember, we'll just move on. But it was horrendous. This is really bad.
It was my Woody Allen impression.
That was it. And who did I say it sounded like? Do you remember?
It's like when I actually listened to Woody Allen after, I went, oh no, it's nothing like what I think he sounds like.
If I remember, I'm going to wind you up about that. Right. So do you remember the first, Jameson's, etc. So what's the first whiskey you really liked then?
Lefroy. Straight in at the deep end of Pete, 100%. Got me hook, line and sinker. And then sort of expanded from there. It was only, realistically, I think only in the last 4 years, I'd say, I've sort of started to get roughly into like the sherried stuff. I really love American whiskey. So yeah, it's my horizons were broadened. Obviously, the more experiences you have in terms of like live shows, sharing drams with people, that kind of thing. So
yeah, depends what whiskey they're serving at those shows in Thailand, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And I'd sort of definitely at the moment feeling bourbon casks more than anything as we stand. So that's good considering I haven't picked up any amazing sherry whiskies recently, but yeah,
sherry refill and ex-borbs for the win, isn't it? Most of the time for the real magic stuff, if it's a bit older.
Yeah, I think so. I think sherry's hiding a lot of secrets that people are trying to hide essentially in their whiskey. So yeah, bourbon I think is a bit more honest.
Yeah. I think the first whiskey I remember buying a lot of was Aberlour, right? I used to get it and put it in make Godfather cocktails.
The what?
Right? It's basically whiskey and amaretto. I had a real sweet tooth when I was younger, but I also drank a lot of peated whiskey with my dad. So it would be like Talisker, Lagavulin, etc.
Okay.
And there was always like stuff like Jura kicking around. Early on. Yeah.
There's always Jura kicking about because no one wants to buy it.
Well, I mean, even I remember, no joke, I remember being at university and a friend, because whiskey used to be cheap. I don't know if you remember that, Mike, you missed the cheap days. A friend bought me a bottle of Bunna 18. Bunna 18, right? When we were like 24, we got Highland Park 21, just had that knocking around because it wasn't that expensive.
Yeah.
Even though we were broke, we could still afford it. So I can't recount all the whiskies that I've tried over the years. And I also did a bit of a period in Korea. And so I went to Japan quite a lot and I tried a lot of Japanese whiskies. So I've tried most of the main ones that people would know about. But I have to say, because I was often on nights out or doing stuff, it isn't documented, but I'm aware of certainly some of the ones that I've tried.
Yeah.
And the gist of Japanese whiskey, right? But everything feels a bit more special if you're in some sort of like tiny bar in Tokyo or somewhere else where there's 7 people and tables carved out of trees and the lighting's perfect, etc. You could have served me a Jameson and I probably would have said this is magical, right?
Yeah.
If it was in the right glass, a tumbler, for instance. Yeah.
Hashtag Tumbler Club.
Hashtag Tumbler Club. Let's get that out there, right?
This was the start of challenging the whiskey authority, as I see it, in terms of like not just being cheeky with it, because I know people drinking really good whiskey out of a tumbler, putting it on social media really wound people up.
It has wound some people up, but I don't I don't fully get it really, because I believe there's a glass for every occasion. And by the way, big shout out to Paul Malt Whitson, who helped me get Tumbler Club off the floor. I'm claiming it. If you go back, if you've got enough time in your hand and you go back, I posted about it first, except someone about 7 years ago, which was nothing to do with whiskey. And then I want to thank all of the fans of Tumbler Club for helping to support it and get it out there to further wind people up.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you just want to relax with the tumbler, right?
With some ice and Pepsi.
Yes. Yeah, some root beer if it's Ben Bracken.
Yeah.
Stuff is horrendous. It's been good. It's nice to see people proud of drinking out of a tumbler. But I want to just put it on record. I drink equally out of Glencairns and Copitas and other assorted glassware, including like the blender's glass. And I think we'll probably do a pod on glasses at some point, as long as we can keep it fun. But generally, it's really easy. If you've got a really low ABV, you need a tighter neck at the top of the glass so that it sort of brings the fumes together, concentrates them so you can get a bit more out of it. If you've got a really high ABV whiskey.
Glass section, just because although everyone claims to have all the science behind it and stuff, and obviously a Glencairn is going to concentrate things more than an open top tumbler, but do they make that much of a difference? It'd be good to have same dram, 5 different glasses all lined up just to see.
We did do something like that with Whiskey Chaps at one point a while ago, and they wrote a great blog about it. But I think that we should do that. So we should do it. I think generally speaking, a tumbler is about relaxation, and other glassware is about really enjoying the nose side of things.
We need like a boxing bell for future pod ideas.
Yeah. Ding ding. Like, ding. Are you gonna ring the bell?
It's gonna be my soundbite.
Ding ding. Yeah.
Hey,
I can't chase the chickens. I can't chase them. So we should talk about. So we've done a bit of an intro about us. I'm sure people will get to know us a bit more. We want to go on record as saying that we probably will have guests on. I think most definitely, and we're actually really considering having a third person on the pod, aren't we? But we didn't want to.
On the pod.
Maybe somebody from One True God Country, right? Somebody who's
another Welshman.
Yeah, I'm in France. No, we'll see. It would be nice to get somebody genuine Scottish or Irish on the pod, and we know lots of those people. So let's see what we can do over time.
Yeah, I think hopefully there's interest. I think everyone loves a Zoom session now for tastings, things like that. So everyone's got a bit more comfortable with this world, and even if it wasn't a permanent fixture, if someone can't spare the time or whatever, guests dropping in and out, I think could make it slightly more interesting than listening to us two waffle on.
Yeah, definitely. Right, let's do a bit about what's in our glasses at the moment then, and maybe how many open bottles we've got as well, because that will also help people to understand. Okay. So, Mike, whiskey wings. How are you? What are you? How many bottles have you got open at the moment? How crazy have you gone, and what's been in your glass?
If I had to be brutally honest, I've got more open than I could probably ever drink in a lifetime, which means I shouldn't buy any more. But
it also means you're a bit of a legend because you open bottles, right? So props.
This means I'm not finishing them, which is probably a good thing for my liver and kidney function. But yeah.
But if you had to guess, I know I've got about 25 open at the moment, and I did set a rule of 20 as being the tops.
Quick calculation, and this is the absolute lowest it could be.
Is that a spreadsheet, Mike?
No, it's not a spreadsheet. It's a calculator. It's like having more fingers and toes than I've got, just being able to use to add up. But if I think every row in my whiskey cabinets in my little whiskey room, 16 per section, I've got 16 sections, so a minimum 256 open.
I didn't know that about you, and that is ridiculous.
Yeah,
that might be one of the highest numbers I've ever heard of.
Yeah, I could probably run a really successful whiskey bar from my house.
I just took a big gulp. That is actually obscenely brilliant. I have to take a step back at that. I had no
amazingly.
idea. I had no idea
Yeah.
you had so many open bottles.
I've got low, and they're all pretty full. I've made a concerted effort to bin off the sort of ones that are going low, just to try and preserve them a bit. But yeah, genuinely, I've got a minimum of that. I'd probably push it to closer to 300. If I'm being honest.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
but
Well, and I haven't been over yours yet, so I'm now motivated to come round. When you said
you've been
you had,
invited many times. You just keep mugging me off.
oh, that one was a train strike though. That's not my fault. So it was. That actually happened.
Yeah, that's it.
We're going
Blame
to have to do
Thomas.
a live pod from your gaff, aren't we?
Yes,
Now.
100%.
So
Yeah.
you've got 250 to 300 open bottles.
Yeah.
What's been your glass recently? What have you been
So
loving?
what's been in my glass, obviously due to the latest hype, there's been some releases from our friends at Springbank. I managed to get hold of a Springbank 10. I do believe you posted the link potentially to where that was
Yeah,
available.
possibly.
And I dived in and grabbed one of those. I picked up a Campbelltown Lock and a Kilkerran bourbon cask, the 8 cask strength. That was in my glass last night. So
Yeah, how are you finding that that Bob's Kilkerran? The
it's
8
nice.
strength.
It's really nice, but to me, it does still taste young. Amazingly,
Yeah,
it's
it
still
does
got
taste a
that
bit young, doesn't it?
youthful element on there. So whether they've got like a really hard cask that just hasn't sort of accepted that spirit as well, I don't know, or if they've done something to the cask. But yeah, but it's nice. It's got some legs. I think a bit of air might do it some good.
I've done the same thing. I've parked that one. I've drunk heavy neck pour, maybe a couple of pours.
Yeah.
I'm just going to leave it for 3 months and come back to it.
Well, that's if you do that, that's where you get 300 bottles from.
I don't do it often though. I usually
neck
just get
pour, then buy another one.
Yeah. There is something to be said from there. I think it will be a lot better after 2 to 3 months. It's very nice now, but you know, you're always kind of hoping it's going to be extra special, right?
It is, and then you think like you do a comparison to that compared to like I'm just scanning my cabinet, the Aaron 10, which is like so readily available, such good value. Yes, it's less strength, but I mean, it's just an absolute winner straight out of the blocks. Is it worth the hype? Is it worth chasing down? Based on that one, no, I would say, but who knows what it's like in time. But yeah, I think. How about you? What's been in your glass recently?
Well, funny you should say that because you actually mentioned chasing, which is going to be the theme of our first pod episode on Honest to a Malt, right? Have I got the title right? Honest to a Malt?
That is right. Yeah. This is where we're also going to record stupid little like sound bites where we take over songs and start singing on stuff. So
yeah, we're going to do that. We're musical.
It here.
Yeah, maybe the odd rap. We'll see how it goes. So, first off, we're going to make this episode actually about chasing the dragon. Nods to your Welsh heritage. You know, the joy of chasing bottles. It's not just about enjoying drinking them. It's also perversely become about actually the joy of chasing them, which is the sort of slightly twisted nature of managing to get one, and just that sense of accomplishment. If only
or not.
If only they sent out gold stars to you when you managed to snag one of these bottles as well. You could have a collection of gold stars and approval on top.
I have 1 gold star, I think.
Yeah, I do all right. Although it's just me and using free time, which I could use for something else. What's in my glass? Stuff that I've been loving. Well, I've just opened another bottle of Tamdu 15, which I'm a big fan of. I opened another bottle last night. I think that might be, I don't know how many bottles of that I've had. Quite a few.
Is that your go-to?
It's like my favorite kind of like tumbler pour, but it isn't cheap. So when I saw it on discount on a retailer with top cashback, if we're allowed to say that, I guess we are. I picked up another bottle, so I've always got some in stock. I've been really enjoying that Glen Murray Oloroso Warehouse Edition one, right?
Okay.
That's meaty, loads of heavily sherried, all full maturation. The joys of a full maturation.
Are you still fully in Sherryland at the moment?
No. I'm always a mixture between everything. So maybe only in the summer I'll be drinking all out ex bourbon or bourbon casks. Maybe park the sherry for a little bit. But my favorite, would be like sherry refill. I like to buy the odd auction buy. I usually make sure the bottles are full when I buy them, Mike. Just a tip for you there.
Thanks.
Make sure the fill level. Don't purchase when drunk.
I need to check that actually. Didn't never see if I got a refund.
I've got a bottle of 46% G&M Balblair from, I think it's 2013, which I got for, I don't know, 55 pounds from an auction. And that's one of my favorite bottles. It's like really orchard fruits, loads of milk chocolate on the finish. It is, it's that sort of magic spot, but it's not, if it is slightly sherried, it's ever so slightly sherried. It's like a sherry refill, could be like a third fill or something like that. And that's one of my favorite bottles in the cupboard. That's non-peated. And in terms of peated whiskey, I managed to get a bottle of that Master of Malt, Le Shig, right? The 12-year-old one, which is a sherry refill, but it must have been a very active sherry cask if it's a sherry refill. So it's probably second fill.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's absolute filth. It's complete joy. Yeah, it really is. And now I've got it to about
dirty tire yards and
everything, all of that. Just engine oil and tires and heavy smoke.
Do you have to wear overalls to drink it?
Yeah,
put a bit of mud on your face. Like, yes,
you're only allowed to drink it. You're only allowed to drink it in a garage whilst doing mechanics. Yeah, that's
whilst throwing tools around. Just ratcheting things for no reason.
Yeah, tool belt. Oh, maybe I'll take a tool belt to the next whiskey festival. There's an idea, right? To carry the old Glencairn, right? So that one. Good. Yeah, that one as well. I mean, I've got a few, and there was also a recommendation from Ben, Whiskey with Molly, right?
Mm-hmm.
He recommended
James. A woman called Molly.
He's not. He's
it
not.
Is Ben.
He's got his Labrador's called Molly, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, and it's nothing to do with anything else that might be casually referred to as Molly in.
No.
nothing to do with that at all. It's very much about the name of his dog, just to shout him out.
Loads of Australian teenagers following him.
Yeah. Loves an espresso
I'm here
martini.
for drinks and drags, mate.
Flaming kids. So he recommended a Kalila, James Eady, Paolo Cortado, love of Paolo Cortado sherry, 11-year-old, and that is excellent. The reason it's excellent is because it has that perfect balance between it's salted, sweet, slightly sour. It's all the things you look for. It's also very crisp. It's not really an oily dram, although I do like oily drams. And that's really good at £75. So it has to be good, right? For 75 quid.
You could probably pick that up on auction for 120.
Yeah, someone is buying one currently as it stands for £15 over RRP plus the fee they have to pay. So whoever that is, whoever you are out there, please stop this. You're driving me mental.
And that kind of goes on to the topic we were going to discuss. So like I got a message from Duncan yesterday, just incandescent rage at somebody bidding higher for a whiskey that is now fully available in other stores above RRP.
Easily, several retailers.
How is someone doing this that they haven't even Googled the price of something to see what it's worth? But it probably goes into that the chase.
Well, the chase is most relevant to Springbank. So let's talk about what happened with the latest Springbank release. Everyone gets caught up in FOMO. Be honest with yourselves. Mm-hmm. Everyone's saying, "Oh, I don't want to get it," or "I'm not bothered buying it." We all get caught up in it, and it still is a really good whiskey. And it's a good distillery, and all of the whiskey they put out from there, all three of them, Springbank, Hazelburn, Longrow, they're all good whiskies.
They are good whiskies if you can get them.
If you can get them. So what the last release online stuff was going crazy. So this is what happened to me. Generally speaking, the most, there's one retailer which is very big based in Kent, which is the easiest one to get a bottle from without you having to leave your house, right? And to forge relationships with shops, because I like to shop around. I buy a lot of bottles, as do you, Mike. So I like to shop around. And so I'd gone to the cafe to get some lunch, and I'd seen that they dropped Springbank 10 in the morning, and so it seemed like that was the day. So I'm monitoring it in between doing work, keeping an eye on it, like lots of other people are. And so I go to the local cafe to get some lunch. And in the 10 minutes where I'm having a chat with the missus and we're ordering lunch, in that time, everything dropped. And then I look back at my phone.
The local.
Oh no, that's actually a lie. I did manage to get a Kilkerran car strength, so that was still there, and I got that. But the local barley, which is the only one I wanted to get, really had gone, and I'm devastated because that meant I was going to have to put effort in, like real effort, to get a bottle, right?
Yes.
And so what? Well, I don't know if you want to tell the story from your perspective, if you want me to tell it. So what did we do?
Just for the courtesy of the listeners, Duncan's got a bit of a smug look on his face as well while saying this, the hunt, because he knows the outcome, which you don't at the moment. So essentially, entered every possible ballot for it. And then, I got word of mouth from someone on this podcast that a certain shop in North London will be dropping local barley on a Sunday morning. So made the plans to go down, get there 6 a.m. I thought, well, it's definitely early enough. Get down there. No one's going to know about this little shop in the middle of North London.
It was on the same day as one of the big retail stores were dropping something like James Bond. So I figured that there would be much easier to go there.
But the Locust might be central rather than at this small whiskey shop.
Yeah, exactly that. Right.
So got up, prepped my breakfast the night before, all set, jumped in the car. Can't remember the time it was. I think it was like 5:30. I set off from the house. Got to the store, I want to say 6:30, if I remember.
It's about that.
Which I planned to get there at 6. So I was already sort of a bit slacking.
Bear in mind it opened at 10.
Yeah. So, I don't mind standing outside, put a nice thick coat on, get all set on, coffee. I'm there. I'm set to stand in the queue for 4 hours like an absolute dick. After the hour-long drive, as I pull up, I see a line of people. Now, I have been told that there were 8 bottles available at this store, Duncan. Is that correct? 8?
Correct.
So as I drive past and sort of jump out the car, I'm walking up and I'm like, that looks like about 8 people on the push.
I can honestly feel my heart rate's going up as you're telling the story. I'm getting the adrenaline back again. Like both the excitement for myself and the loss for you.
Yes.
I don't need caffeine right now.
As I approach in 8th place with the last bottle of local barley secured is Duncan. And I'm like looking down the line, Cangton, and he's just like, I'm so sorry. And I was just absolutely raging. I think I did it quite well internally. I was ready to kill.
No, I could tell you were truly gutted, but you were polite and you stood and chatted for a bit. But you had that look of defeat on you, and I felt for you. Maybe I could just spin the story from my side. So, this shop is kind enough to send out an email. So I knew how much you wanted a bottle, and I think I'm right in thinking you've never had a bottle of local barley, and you really want a bottle of local barley.
It's been a chase for a good few years.
Exactly. So I did manage to get a bottle last year, and I drank it with friends mostly on the balcony, actually. Shout out to our friend Paul. And he I think we did the third or half of the bottle, and then I sent some samples to people. So it's not like it wasn't shared; it was shared. But that bottle was seen off, and it was very good. That was the 10-year-old local barley.
As it should be.
Yeah, as it should be, right? But it's still £100 ish for a bottle. It was £90 last year. This year it's about £100. So let's not be under any illusions. It's not a cheap whiskey, right? Although it is a very tasty whiskey. So I knew I'd called ahead. There was 8 bottles. I checked. And so I thought, what time do I need to go down? So like you, I thought we'll get down for 6 and I'll let you know about it. 8 bottles. We need to get down there. This is how much effort I had to go to. And people are going to think this is ridiculous. On that weekend, I had our daughter, Eva, and the dog, and my wife was out partying in Norwich on Saturday night and staying over or something. And so for a friend's birthday. So she wasn't around. So I had to get a friend. This is going to sound so ridiculous. Hold your breath. I had to get a friend to come over at 5:40 a.m. in the morning. A friend had to come over so that I was able to leave the house. Right. So a friend came
I didn't
round.
know this.
Yeah, this is true. So a friend came round, and actually I was also really tired. I hadn't slept because the whole night, my daughter, she wasn't 100%, and so I think about 2:30 a.m. in the morning, she she wanted someone to be in bed with her or whatever, or she came and got into our bed. And what toddlers do when they're about 3-ish is they just move around loads and kick you basically during your sleep. So I didn't sleep at all. So I got up in the morning, and I had to have this moment where I was saying to myself, no matter how much I want this bottle, can I do it? Like literally, have I got the energy? And I've made 2023 all about mind over matter. So I said to myself, forget about it, just do it. Because it's about the chase. It's about saying you got something done, right? So I was going to ride the motorbike. So I messaged you to let you know I was, leaving as well. Got on the motorbike. I left a bit late and I wanted to. I think about 6. Obviously, on a motorbike, I can make pretty good progress. And pretty cold that morning, right? It wasn't that cold, but it was pretty cold. So I've got up, got the motorbike out, had a cup of tea or whatever, or a cup of coffee. Made sure I've got a warm coat on, taken a book to read in the queue in case people aren't being very friendly, although it turned out they were friendly, and legged it down there. As I'm pulling up, because I might have ridden at the absolute maximum permitted legal road speed.
Good.
But efficiently. As I'm pulling up, I'm counting the people, and my heart is going crazy. And I'm looking at it, and I can't believe at 6:25 in the morning or 6:22 or whatever it is, there was already so many people in the queue. And I count them, and I'm the 8th person. And I've had 2 thoughts. One, the relief that I have snagged a bottle of local barley. And then 2, I felt really gutted for you, to be honest. and then I messaged you because I thought I didn't know
see
how
me arse tearing up the road in my car and just like jumping out, going.
Yeah. That handbrake, handbrake turn was unnecessary, to be honest. So I got out, and then but here's the true story. It turned out that some of those people, one or two of those people, they were sitting in their cars outside, and also one of them had been outside since midnight. Right. What are they doing, right? And the truth of it is, my sense is most of those people in that queue were not buying it to drink it. And that breaks my heart, right?
Yeah.
And some of them were hoping there would be 25. There was no 25. So I said to you, we'll split the bottle, right? And this is a really important part of it, right? And you were like, I said, I'll tell you what we'll do is I'll split the bottle. We'll split the bottle, and I'll give you half. I'll pour half into a different bottle for you. And you were like, no. I was like, say what? I was like, say what? And then you went, no. I said, okay, I tell you what, I understand you want the bottle on your shelf. What I'll do is I will pour half of the bottle out into another bottle and give you that half a bottle. And I know at this point, you were just in brain fog, like maybe everything had just shut down. You were like, no. Right. And I was like, Mike, I can't do anything for you. That's the best offer.
You could do. There's nothing you needed to do because, like you said, I want that bottle. I've been after that bottle for years, and your hand-me-down offer wasn't going to cut the mustard because it's the chase.
It's the chase. You wanted to get that bottle.
It's stupid. It's ridiculous and stupid that I'm getting up at 5:30 to chase this bottle. It's insane that people are getting up and going outside a shop at midnight to get this bottle. And
Mike, I queued for 3 hours.
They didn't have the 25 because they were just there to flip and make money. I'm glad.
I think so. I queued for 3 hours. 3 hours. That's the truth of it.
Yeah.
And then when I got in the store, because I wanted to make a point, I bought the bottle and then I opened it in the store. Through
the tears, I saw that post and I was, I was proud of you. Whilst
I know.
Whilst dabbing my eyelids with tissue.
It is a buzz, though, isn't it? Like I managed to snag a bottle of Springbank 18 on another well-known retailer at some point, and also. There was one, and I wish I could remember the name. Is it something? Is it 1874 Graham Roberts. Robert Graham's 1874.
Yes. Yeah.
So they did a ballot last year, and I won a bottle, and I couldn't believe it. And I said, "Do you mean this is actually it's an honest ballot? Because I've never even bought anything with you." And they were like, "Yeah." And I said, "Okay, well." So I opened it when I got it, and I sent them pictures, and I thanked them, and I bought some cigars for them as well because I felt so guilty having won this. I felt guilty.
Exactly.
Like, why am I feeling guilty? It's still I paid the
Still
RRP
a
for
lot
it.
of money.
Exactly. But you get that rush when you manage to get hold of a bottle that you've been searching for a while, and that rush is part of it, I guess. Right?
Yeah, I'd say
like when you win,
when
you win on an auction, you get an auction bargain, and you're watching the auction to the last moment, hoping nobody else is going to bid.
Yeah.
Right.
Then someone snipes you, and then you pay like 4 times more than you should.
Yeah. yeah, because you've bid it up to a certain amount.
Yeah.
Somebody just pushes the extra £10, and you're like, oh no. Yeah, I do that
Auction
sometimes.
continues for another 15 minutes. You're like, oh.
So can you think of any other bottles then that you've chased and just it's been a rush managing to get them?
I'm not very lucky in terms of ballots and getting these rare bottles. I've sight like, again, looking back now, I've got over the local barley rage for another 11 months. I'm happy I got a 10. Just the standard Springbank 10. Decent price, good whiskey, better than last year's. I think I got a sample off someone. When you got, bit of self-reflection, I have 300 bottles open. Get a grip.
Yeah, you do need to get a grip. Yeah.
Or just drink more. But
one of the two.
The other chasers, what was it? I know exactly what it was. The Little Dog Sherry. Yeah.
What was it?
The one you sent me, the sherry cask. Do you remember you sent me a link?
Oh yeah. What the Kilkerran?
No, 2 seconds. Let's jump on. This is not going to make it recorded. The Wee Mongrel.
Oh right, what Wee Mongrel 2?
Yes.
Yeah, it's good. It wasn't as good as the first edition. That's the truth of it. No, I don't think so.
But I just think I know it was a smaller bottle, but that was like good value. It looks like
it's beautiful, isn't it? It's got a dog on it. It's a good blend. Yeah, I think they say they're not going to get a third batch of that, but people say they prefer the second batch. I think that's because people like really a lot of people like over sherried whiskey, whereas the first one was sherried but not over sherried. It still had a bit more the character coming through.
That's one I give to people if they want to like try really heavily sherried stuff, because it's like, I mean, you probably could have just mixed it and forgotten the barrel, just mixed a bit of new make with sherry, voila.
Yeah, boom. Yeah, well, I mean, new make would be a good episode. So, well, we promised that we wouldn't have the first pod episode go too long.
Yep.
Right. It's an intro, but I'm really, really looking forward to doing more of these pods. As we said, look, getting hopefully a third person on, getting some guest contributors to come on as well. Yeah. We're going to keep this audio focused because we have faces for radio. Maybe in the future we might go video. After
I'll tempt him to get on video, folks. Don't worry.
Here we go. Gonna have to have a shave. We'll see. I think, but we're looking for. Feel free to give us any feedback. On
that's what I was going to say, because it is like just contact us on any of the various social media platforms, Whiskey Wings and Whiskey Tip. If you think there's any topics you want to talk about, it's all lighthearted. It's not going to be a very serious podcast. Hopefully, it's just two blokes chatting as they age disgracefully about whiskey.
And we need to get this one out before Whiskey Live, because we're thinking about doing something at Whiskey Live, right? I mean, we're both going to, it's April the 1st, isn't it?
1st of April.
Yeah. So we need to get this out. Yeah, we need to get this out before then, because then I think the next pod will probably be about Whiskey Live, unless we do one in between. Depends on how we get going, right?
Yeah.
We're shooting for one a week here, aren't we?
Shooting for the stars.
Yeah, might as well go big. Go big or go home. Right. All right. Well, I've really enjoyed it. Thank you to everyone for listening.
Me too. And we'll catch you on the next one.